Hello, everybody. Jay Real here with my buddy once again, Brandon, and it is April the 6th. Is it the 6th?
I believe so.
Uh, yeah, April the 6th, 2025, and it turned cold here in Texas. I mean, for us, it turned cold in the low to mid 50s. So we've been dealing with 70-degree, 80-degree weather, mid 80s, and all that. For it to come back down to the 50s again was a little bit of a blow, but it's just pretty much today, and then starting tomorrow, supposed to be back in the mid 60s and all that. So we're warming up in the 70s and 80s and everything. It was cloudy all day and just kind of dreary, but anyway, that's Texas weather for you. But
Yeah. If you don't like the weather in Texas, just wait about an hour. It'll change.
yeah, exactly. And what did you get that damn hailstorm last week?
I don't know if we got the hail, but we got the crazy wind that like Wizard of Oz to where it feels like you're in a tornado or something.
And man, it was about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and we got hit by a pretty rough hailstorm. And I live in a damn trailer house with a metal roof, and it sounded like the world was coming to an end. But and it started out, I guess kind of grape size or whatever. They've got these different sizes. But it got up to probably around ping pong ball size. And man, that was loud. Good Lord. Uh, and But I keep hearing when they talk about the weather off in different areas, when they talk about severe storms coming, baseball size hail, man, that'd kill you flat dead if you was out in that. I can't imagine baseball size hail.
Now, if I hear that, I stay in the damn house. I ain't going outside.
Well, yeah, but good Lord, just the very idea of baseball size.
Baseball.
I hope I never see that.
Fuck no, damn, a baseball's like what? Like that big?
Well, yeah, good God. You imagine that coming out of the sky. Good Lord. Yeah. But anyway, Brandon, you told me earlier often you frequent the bookstores, particularly half price books, and
Yep.
usually show off some new scores. So show us what you got.
I got the WWE Encyclopedia, and one I had to look to see if one of my favorites was in here, and let me find it. I got him in here. Old Terry Funk is one of my favorites. He always called people egg sucking dogs. Dusty Rhodes, you fat piece of shit. That's what he said. He called Dusty Rhodes fat one time. He's like, Dusty Rhodes, he turned his back on me. His fat ass was running out the sportatorium, left me all alone. Egg sucking dog. The other one was Cactus Jack. He's like, Cactus Jack, my ass. I always loved old Terry Funk, and I got held at half price books. The DVDs are cheap as shit, so I got quite a bit of them. First one was Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp and what's her name, Christina Ricci.
Oh, is that the one Tim Burton directed?
Yeah, no, what's his name? The guy. Who was the dude in the Dead Zone that like hit his head or whatever, and Anthony Watkins or whatever?
Oh, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, he's the headless horseman. He looks like a meth head running around all crazy, like. Yeah, there's that one. I haven't watched this yet, but my Aunt Melody said she liked it, and that was Stephen King's The Stand.
That's real good. Yeah, that is one of the best miniseries, shows. But yeah, that's real good.
I haven't seen that one. I love westerns, so I got The War Wagon with John Wayne, classic. Since I like, wrestling, got XPW, the Enter the Sandman. And every time I go to Half Price Books and I buy like a wrestling or UFC DVD, I think they think it's some kind of weird gay porn since there's like a shirtless guy on there. So when they look at it, they go like this, like the lady looked at it, like X, whatever, and it's like, no, it's Rast. Oh, she's like, oh, it's Rast. That happens every time. There's always like just some shirtless guy on there. The Phantom of the Opera, because I felt being classy. You know, I like the Lon Chaney one and the Universal one. So I remember not liking this too much when I was a kid, but I'll give it another chance since I'm grown. Signs, classic with Mel Gibson.
That's
M. Night Shyamalan. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
I got that one. First Blood, which this is a lot better than I remember it being, because I always thought it was just him in the woods killing people with sticks. But when you pay attention to it, it has kind of a, I don't know if you say it's an anti-war movie, but it's kind of, I don't know, like the speech he gives at the end where he talks about how he can't hold a job now because of how fucked up he was from the. It kind of works better if you watch it with subtitles because Sylvester Stallone is. But if you watch it with subtitles, his speech kind of hits you a little harder, you know.
Well, we talked about that. I think the last show we talked about blood, and yeah, that was the Vietnam vets. You know, a lot of them when they came back, they were just treated like just dog shit. You know, they were treated like criminals, and just, you know, they were just fighting the war, just doing what they were supposed to do. You know, and
I did some research on this, and it turns out that this movie and I think it was the Bruce Lee movie, The Big Boss, was real popular with the black communities because all the black people they felt like they're, you know, abused by the police and stuff. And if you watch this film, Rambo's just minding his own business, and the cops just kind of fuck with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one. And then this is a weird one, but I ain't seen it in years. It's Little Children with the guy from the Conjuring movies, and Jackie Earle Haley's like a sexual predator in this or something.
Huh.
It's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, that's what I remember about it. Jackie Earle Haley's like a pervert or something. Now, this is one, and actually pissed a lot of people. My dad actually chewed my ass out for this, but I remember seeing this when I was a kid, The Passion of the Christ, and I thought it was like a horror movie. And I kind of considered it to be like a Trojan horse horror film. Yeah, I remember, and that really pissed my dad off because, you know, he was, you know, religious at the time. But I mean, there's scary shit in this movie.
What they do to poor Jesus in that movie, it's
a Saw film, pretty much.
It's almost torture porn, you know.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the devil. Like there's jump scares with demons. And Lucifer,
when they're beating him, and they're, you know, what was it? It's and whipping him, and just the
devil has like a baby, but it's like a midget. It's a weird little midget, and it's like that's some horror movie stuff, man.
Anyway, Akers says that was an excellent pick. Little Children, and even though Kate Winslet won for something else, I think that her best movie might be Little Children. Kate Winslet. I didn't know she was in that. The little baby is creepy in Passion of the Christ. So.
Yeah, and then Judas gets attacked by these little demons with razor teeth. Like, if that ain't a horror movie, I don't know what is, you know? I believe in Jesus and everything. I'm just saying, like, if you watch, this is more graphic than I think, like, Hostel or something, you know?
Yeah, like I say, yeah, not only that, but like I say, what they do to Jesus in that.
Jesus, yeah.
It's borderline torture porn what they do to him. And let's see. Akers says that the devil actor should have been nominated. It was scary when he said the Aramaic words. So
yeah, I mean, it's a good film, and Mel Gibson was really good at, you know, directing it and stuff. I thought the shots were really good. And one thing about this film I liked is there's certain biblical movies and even Westerns to where I think the people are too clean, you know. like how clean were cowboys or, or like the Jesus type people? I'm pretty sure they were dirty, they probably didn't have access to water as much. And so, yeah, I mean, I like the movie, but, I don't know if I should have been watching it as a little kid, but it's like everyone hop in the church bus and let's go see the Passion of the Christ.
Well, I remember when it came out, it was very, very popular, to go, I didn't see it until it came out on DVD. I didn't see it in the theater, but I knew a lot of people that had seen it in the theater, and it was like, the description of what they did to Jesus in that movie. I said, my God, that just sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, and then there's some people who said that the film was anti-Semitic. I remember that, but I guess it's because the way the Jewish Pharisees looked. Because I remember South Park made fun of it because they had like they put makeup on them. They gave them like big hook noses, and they're like, hey. Like, shit. And then I actually got this from my brother-in-law as a birthday present. The history of white people in America. Yeah, it's I don't know. I just thought that was funny looking. I don't know, the history of white people in America. And then there's one I wanted to get that was too expensive. That was, I guess, written in the '60s by the Panthers, called The White Devil. But I didn't want to spend $12 on that. But I should have maybe got this one and The White Devil, and he would have been like, "What the hell?" That'd have been. But yeah, the history of white people in America. Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
Another Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but my Uncle John and them really liked it, called The Magnificent Seven. Since I like westerns and shit, I decided to check that one out.
My daddy really liked that one.
Mystic River, which I remember being a depressing watch, but been a while since I've seen it, so I'll check it out. I'm a Nicolas Cage fan, so I got Vampire's Kiss.
Oh man, that is a must.
I bought this because you recommended it.
It's a must see. I mean, there's Nicolas Cage can be really good, one of the best actors on screen, or he can go batshit crazy, and he goes batshit crazy in Vampire's Kiss. So, and it's a must watch. Yeah.
And then George C. Scott's Patton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on there.
That opening speech is like one of the best things ever,
And then since I like this one, and I remember always at my grandma's house, she watched the old. It was a black and white. This is the remake, but I remember liking the old black and white one, so I figured I'd rewatch the De Niro Cape Fear. So.
That's actually, I really like that one. I think I prefer the one with Robert Mitchum.
I remember Robert Mitchum seemed more real, if that made sense. Yeah, like this, he felt more like a cartoon character, kind of.
I watched it, was it last night or the night before? I watched Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum, where he plays another crazy, he's a preacher, kind of a crazy preacher guy that kills widow women and steals their money. And Robert Mitchum was like one of the best actors back then. But him and Cape Fear and him and Night of the Hunter are just two of the best performances, playing batshit crazy, maniacs. But hang on, let me catch up here. Akers says, so cool he has picked those up. I really enjoy these shows. Thanks. Thank you, Akers. Does that catch you up or
I'm done.
Oh, okay.
I'm just plugging my charger in.
Well, what we've been doing, and this has been quite a long series because we take our time and just kind of bullshit, and we're not in any kind of time constraint. We can take all the time we want to with these things. But we started with the year we were born and have been talking about our favorite movie every year, beginning of the year we were born. Our favorite movie of the year. And what I've been doing is going through the films that were other films that were released that year, and then getting to my favorite film. But we'll start with you, Brandon. Where'd you leave off last time?
Well, let me take a look. Let's see. The Taking of Deborah Logan is where we left off, but the next one I was going to talk about is The Visit. M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit.
But what year are you?
2015.
Okay.
And The Visit is like where it kind of makes no sense because why the parents, if they ain't seen their parents in so long, would just drop their kids off without even checking on them. But this lady drops her kids off at what she thinks is a grandparent's house while she goes off on a trip, and it turns out it's escaped mental patients pretending to be the grandparents. It's just a fun movie, and there's this little white kid that raps, and they shove a shitty diaper in his face, and it was just fun and entertaining.
That's a really good one. When a Shyamalan, kind of would go through these, sort of, leaps and dips, and
yeah.
And this one was one that kind of brought him back, where that I really enjoyed The Visit. Really, really liked that one. And the woman that plays the crazy lady is really good. The fake grandmother, although we're spoiling something there by saying that, but
I think you can figure it out, within the first couple minutes.
But
I'm gonna go grab my different charger real quick.
Okay. But yeah, that's a good choice. The Visit. Let's see. And Akers says 1991 is such a tough one to select. Some of my favorites of that year are What About Bob and Nothing But Trouble and Defending Your Life. And Cuffs. I don't think I've seen Cuffs. I like Defending Your Life. Nothing But Trouble is crazy. With Dan Aykroyd and all that makeup, that heavy makeup. And What About Bob? Oh yeah. Well, anything with Bill Murray. And M. Night now pays for his own movies out of pocket and sells them to studios. I think he should spend a bit more. They look not as good now. Huh.
Well, I think he kind of hurt himself by always having to have a twist. I think if he would just get rid of having a twist and just make a movie with a normal ending, maybe he would be better received,
That kind of Twilight Zone twist. Yeah.
Yeah, he feels like he has to kind of have a twist.
Although in some cases, I love the twist. Unbreakable might be my favorite movie of his. And the twist in Unbreakable is like, oh shit,
I'm one of the few people that actually likes The Visit. Like, I remember watching The Visit and be like, oh, dude, that was awesome. And then everyone's like, that movie sucks.
I really like The Visit.
Or not The Visit. What was the one? The Village.
Oh, The Village. Well, now
that was one I liked that everyone was like, that's terrible. I'm like, I like that.
Who's in The Village? There's one that is so bad, but it's fun to watch because it's so terrible. I don't know.
Is that Devil where they're in the elevator?
No, this one is it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. But what's the actor's name that's in there? Anyway, maybe someone can bring it up. But it's so hilariously bad that it's fun to watch.
The Happening.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's The Happening.
Is it the one where they're committing suicide?
See, I can't remember. I need to see it again, but I'm trying to think. Mark Wahlberg's in it.
Yeah, that's The Happening.
Okay, that's it. It's so absolutely terrible, but it's hilariously terrible. The acting is like, oh no. It's a fun movie to watch with a crowd, watch with people, like kind of like The Room or Troll 2. It's fun to watch with people. The Happening. So yeah. And Kathy, hey Kathy. But yeah. But no, that the Visit, that's a good choice. And once again, what's the year?
2015.
Okay, well now I'm up to 1984, and that's the year I graduated. And man, the 80s, there were some for people of my era, growing up in the 70s and 80s. A lot of what we consider classics came out in the 80s, and so I'm going to go and name some films that came out in 1984. I've always really liked Carl Reiner's All of Me with Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin. And it's where Steve Martin's soul, I guess you'd say, goes into Lily Tomlin. Or no, Lily Tomlin's soul goes into him. That's it. He's got her spirit in his body. And him shifting between himself and Lily Tomlin is hilarious. Steve Martin was just at his best in the 80s. And but Lily Tomlin's a lot of fun in that one too. But anyway, yeah, Carl Reiner directed All of Me. And let's see, Ron Howard's Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, Eugene Levy. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Daryl Hannah is a mermaid, and she's really pretty. And Tom Hanks. Places in the Heart with Sally Field. That's a really good movie. Robert Benton directed. The Muppets Take Manhattan. If you're a Muppet fan, that's a great one. Of course, Frank Oz directed. Red Dawn. John Milius directed. It's got Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, Leah Thompson. Kind of the Brat Pack. They're in the 80s. A lot of them were in this. Were in Red Dawn. It's kind of a World War III, scenario. And Brian De Palma's Body Double with Melanie Griffith. And yeah, that's good. That one has kind of an Alfred Hitchcock feel. A lot of De Palma's films kind of have a Hitchcock feel, but Body Double's a really good one. Let's see. A lot of fans, 80s of sci-fi fans of The Last Starfighter. Nick Castle directed. That's a lot of fun. Last Starfighter. Probably my favorite concert film. For a lot of people, it would be Woodstock. But for me, it is Jonathan Demme's Stop Making Sense with the Talking Heads. Probably my favorite concert movie. I loved it back then. I still like the Talking Heads a lot, but I really loved the Talking Heads back then. But yeah, just if you like the Talking Heads, if you like their music, you got to see it. If you haven't seen it, you got to see Stop Making Sense. Oh God, 80s classic. Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds. What can you say? We could do a whole show just talk about Revenge of the Nerds. Here's a lot of this one's fun, kind of a cult movie, I guess you'd say. Repo Man with Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton, where it's about repo men or whatever, repo man, and there's an alien in the trunk of the car.
Every time you say Repo Man, that was one of the old WWF characters, the Repo Man. And he would come and break in.
Kind of a weird movie, kind of a cult movie.
Yeah.
Alex Cox directed. Of course, a classic. Everybody Cut Loose, Footloose.
Kevin Bacon.
With Kevin Bacon. John Lithgow's. I like John Lithgow in that. And of course, that's a classic. The sequel to 2001, A Space Odyssey, 2010, the year we make contact. Roy Scheider, John Lithgow, once again, Helen Mirren, Peter Hyams directed. It's okay. I mean, I don't think it's great, but I enjoyed it. I've got it on Blu-ray along with the 2000. It's one when they talk about John Carpenter films, one of my favorite horror directors. You don't hear this mentioned a lot, but I think it's one of his better movies, one of his best movies, and it's Starman with Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen. With Jeff Bridges playing this alien that, he's really just kind of a beam of light, but he goes into he sees a photograph and makes himself into the image of Karen Allen's dead husband. And of course, she freaks out when she sees her dead husband appear. But then she develops this relationship with this alien, in the body of, or that looks like her dead husband. But it's really good. It's really well shot, really well directed, well acted, and it gets emotional. And it showed that John Carpenter could do a movie with emotion and just a good story like that, But yeah, Starman. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Spoiler alert, Mr. Spock dies in Star Trek 2 at the end of it. but his casket is on this planet that can regenerate things, including, it turns out, spoiler alert, Mr. Spock. Leonard Nimoy directed that. I think that was one of the criteria he had for starring in Star Trek 2 is that he would have the chance to direct the next film. And he did. Yes. Let's see. Great. I don't really watch baseball, but I like baseball movies, and that's weird. But what can you say? The Natural, with Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Barry Levinson directed. I really like The Natural. Yeah, there's a lot of baseball movies I just love,
Yeah, well, baseball's a pretty boring sport, and it's long as hell, but with movies, they add drama to it, and they kind of speed it up.
But there's a lot of baseball movies I just love, but I don't watch baseball. Top Secret. And this one's a lot of fun. It's from the Zucker brothers, Jim Abrams, David Zucker, Jerry Zucker, Val Kilmer, who I guess we should mention that Val Kilmer just recently passed away.
Yeah. Bless his heart. He had more issues than I thought he did. They're saying it looked like he had something wrong with like his throat or something.
Well, he had throat cancer, but there's a documentary about him that's real good that was done a few years ago about him, about his whole career, being Batman and, The Doors and all the films he was in, Top Gun, of course. But then he developed throat cancer, 10 years ago or 10, 15 years ago, something like that. So he's been dealing with that for years, that throat cancer. But yeah, hated to hear that he passed away, but he was a great actor. But he's a lot of fun in Top Secret. It's from the makers of the Airplane movie, and it's that kind of humor, that kind of zany humor. But Top Secret, it's one you should look up if you can find it streaming somewhere. Look up Top Secret. It's a lot of fun, and Val Kilmer's a lot of fun in that. Dune, David Lynch. I guess it was kind of a disaster at the time. Dune, his version of Dune. There's a more recent version of Dune in Dune 2 that's really popular and kind of, made up for his version of Dune, David Lynch's Dune. Although I love David Lynch, but that movie it's a slog to get through. And that opening narration, it's like, what the fuck? I don't understand a word of this. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Was it just because I haven't seen either one? Was it just one of those things where it was boring, or like you just?
It's just complicated, I guess is the word. about the whole plot of it is too complicated. For me, it was way too complicated. That I just didn't really understand really what was going on. Of course, it's on this other planet, and there's this, kind of stuff they call spice, which is kind of a drug that's like a big, a big marketing thing that people sell this spice, and of course some big giant worms, but it's just a mess. The movie is just a mess, and I love David Lynch. I love a lot of his films, but yeah, that one's a slog to get through. Dude. Robert Zemeckis' Romancing the Stone. A lot of fun with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Romancing the Stone. This, I don't know. I don't remember having to read the book in high school or anything, but I did read the book, and I didn't see the movie. I wanted to go see it in the theater, but I never got to see it in the theater. But this is 1984, and Michael Ratner directed. John Hurt, Richard Burton's in it.
Is that based on the George Orwell story?
Based on the George Orwell book, yeah. And it's really good. It's very faithful to the book, yeah. 1984. I think it's Richard Burton's last film, I think, before he passed away. John Hurt, of course, from Alien and Elephant Man, and yeah. But yeah, 1984. For a lot of people, one of the best comedies. I've always liked it. I didn't love it as a lot of people did, but anyway, Police Academy.
That's a good one. Isn't O.J. Simpson in that?
Yeah. Steve Guttenberg. Yeah. And yeah. And what is it? Oh God. That from the Police Squad, the movies. What are those movies called? Those comedies. With Leslie Nielsen.
A Naked Gun?
Naked Gun. There's a new Naked Gun. And
yeah.
Who's
I don't know who the new guy is. I haven't seen the preview for it yet, but I heard that there's a remake or a reboot or whatever, and it's supposed to be like.
Well, hang on just a minute. It's he's supposed to be the son of Leslie Nielsen's character, so it's I guess it's a sequel. But just a minute. Okay. But just a minute. Liam Neeson. There you go. Liam Neeson. And it's someone you wouldn't think would be in a comedy like this, Liam Neeson, But the previews look pretty damn funny. And the reason why I bring that up is because O.J. Simpson was in those Naked Gun movies. And in the trailer, you see a cop or something like that, and he's looking at the wall, and there's Leslie Nielsen, in the police station. There's Leslie Nielsen, and he looks over, and there's O.J. Simpson, and he kind of goes,
because when I watched O.J. Simpson, you could tell he was talented. I wish I could take a time machine and be like, just don't do that shit so you can have a career.
But you get a shot of O.J. Simpson, and he kind of goes, or something like that. Okay, let me catch up here. Acre says for 1999, some honorable mentions: Terrence Stamp revenge movie The Limey with Peter Fonda, too, and Leslie Ann Warren and Louis Guzman. 1984 honorable mentions for me: El Norte, Lassiter with Tom Selleck, Robin Williams, Moscow on the Hudson. I really like that, Moscow on the Hudson. Red Dawn, Avenge Me, Albert Finney, Under the Volcano. Awesome movie. Also, The Last Starfighter, Stop Making Sense. Very underrated Christopher Reeves historical movie, The Bostonians. Sheena, Amadeus, Fast Time spinoff movie, The Wild Life. Also, 2010, and Oh God, You Devil. Yep. Um, I'm still on 1984. But so many great ones came out during that year. The Killing Fields, a Roland Joffe directed with Sam Waterston um, and John Malkovich. 16 Candles. Come on. Great John Hughes, 80s, teen comedy. 16 Camels with Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall. Uh, the Coen brothers' first film, Blood Simple, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. And with John Getz, Frances McDormand, Dan Hedaya. I love Blood Simple, and there's parts of Dawn, my movie Dawn, that I kind of ripped off Blood Simple. With the girl wrapped in the towel, the bloody towel, and that kind of thing. But anyway, I love Blood Simple. Another 80s classic for a lot of kids. I guess maybe I was just a little bit too old to be captured as a lot of kids were by the Never-Ending Story. Wolf Peterson directed. I don't know. I liked it, but I was maybe just a little bit, because I had graduated, so I was like 18. So it didn't hit me the way it kind of hit some younger kids, and then the Never-Ending Story. Another classic, Karate Kid. Come on. John G. Alverson directed. Of course, Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita. Come on. Beverly Hills Cop. It's not my number one, but I love Beverly Hills Cop. And there was one made, what was it, last year that came out? Was on Netflix?
Yeah, there was one that was on Netflix, and I think there was like they tried to do a television pilot, and it just didn't work or something. But it's one of those things that'll never see the light of day, or like what they do with the tax write-offs. So they tried that, and then they put one on Netflix or something.
But I really liked the one done last year. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a good return.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like that with Eddie Murphy. He's good in that.
But Martin Brest directed, of course, Judge Reinhold, John Ashton. It's still not my number one, but I love it. Gremlins. Come on. Joe Dante directed. Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates. Hoyt Axton.
That's a fun movie, but it gets dark.
And that was one of the movies. I think it was that one and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that brought about the PG-13.
Right. Yeah, and Poltergeist too, right? Because wasn't Poltergeist PG?
Yeah, and Poltergeist, because the movie's PG, Gremlins, but there's some pretty graphic deaths in it. Of course, the old lady goes flying out the window, and that chair, that electric chair. And yeah, but of course it's a classic, Gremlins. One of the best comedies ever, and sort of in a way sort of invented that fake documentary style. I'm sure there was movies that had done it before, but I don't think there's anyone or a movie that's done it better than This Is Spinal Tap. With Rob Reiner directed, and Michael McKean, Christopher Guest.
Well, people thought it was real, right? Like they thought that was like a real band. I remember reading that somewhere.
And absolutely hilarious and mostly improvised. They had a story written out, ideas written out for what would take place in a scene, but mostly it was improvised, just made up by the actors as it was filmed. Yeah. Of course, the music was written and performed and such, but yeah. Come on. It's still not my number one, but A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wes Craven. Wes Craven was one of those directors. I don't know if he's given as much credit as he deserves for kind of changing the landscape of horror. I guess maybe you could say he did it with Last House on the Left, for making this sort of very exploitative horror film way back then, and then with Nightmare on Elm Street, and then later with Scream, kind of changing the landscape of horror movies,
Well, it's interesting because it's not just a guy in a mask. Like Freddy has a personality. There's a whole dream element to it. It's different. It's more. I think Nightmare on Elm Street's better than Friday the 13th and Halloween, just for that reason. Just because there's more.
Yeah.
It's not just a man in a mask.
He spouts one-liners.
It's just weird shit too. Like he's in the alley and his arms are all stretched completely out, and he drags the girl up the ceiling and shit. It's just, to me, like, Freddy's scary. I'd be more scared of Freddy than Michael Myers or Jason or any of them.
Yeah. Well, he gets you in your dreams, so
you can't run away from him. You got to go to bed sometime.
Yeah, you can't run away from Freddy. Yeah, and of course Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp's in it. He's in it for a little while. He dies. Spoiler alert.
It one of the best death scenes too. I remember that cop's like, "We don't need a body bag. We need a mop."
And I mentioned Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that came out that year. I like that. You said you never was a big fan of the Indiana Jones.
I just never could get into it. Like, I appreciate it. Like, it's a well-made movie and everything. It's just, I think it was just.
Ark is my favorite probably action film ever.
I think it was just on TV too much. Just like with E.T., it's like it was always on TV. I think I just seen it too much,
Yeah. And I don't know. The Temple of Doom I liked, but I always thought they went too overboard with it. It was just a little too almost campy for me.
Wasn't there one with aliens? That's kind of when I was done with it, to where Indiana Joe.
The Crystal Skull. And,
yeah.
The movie that won Best Picture was, I think, was Amadeus. And it's still not my number one. And people go, "What? This isn't your number one?" Nope, it's not my number one. But I love it. The Terminator. Come on. Schwarzenegger. James Cameron directed. Linda Hamilton. Michael Biehn. Yeah. The Terminator. Come on. We could do a show and just talk about the Terminator.
Yeah.
But no, my number one for 1984, I'm finally going to get to it. The best movie that to combine comedy and special effects. And can you tell me what that movie is?
I'm guessing Ghostbusters.
Uh-huh. Who are you going to call? Man.
Yeah, I remember that Ghost in the Library still holds up. Pretty much all the effects hold up pretty good.
Of course, I saw this in the theater, I think, with my friend Barry when it first came out. Then I saw it like 2 or 3 more times. I think I saw it 3 times in the theater before it was over with. Because, oh, man. Everything about it just works on the highest level for me. It's hilarious. Bill Murray, maybe his best performance is in Ghostbusters, although I love Groundhog Day. And a lot of other stuff that he did. But what's so hilarious about Bill Murray and Ghostbusters is there's all this supernatural shit going on. There's ghosts flying around everywhere, and he just kind of don't give a fuck. He just don't care. He's just kind of like, it's like he's not shocked by it. He's not really at all surprised by it. It's kind
of like if you hire an exterminator that's seen a bunch of gross shit and he's just kind of,
Yeah. I love him in this. And Dan Aykroyd wrote a lot of it. He wrote it. And he was really smart in giving Bill Murray sort of the star treatment in Ghostbusters, making him almost the main character in Ghostbusters. And he was really smart to do that, taking advantage of his comedic timing and his personality. Ivan Reitman directed, yeah. And of course, Sigourney Weaver, and of course, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, another one who passed away a few years ago, Harold Ramis. But yeah,
Ernie Hudson's in it too, ain't he?
Hudson. And of course the song Ghostbusters. I think I still have the soundtrack on vinyl. And oh gosh, I just don't think there's a movie that combines comedy and special, big special effects.
I would say a close one be Return of the Living Dead, because that's kind of like a comedy too, with like the Tar Man and stuff.
Yeah, but Return of the Living Dead and what is it? American Werewolf in London.
In London.
That also combining humor.
Yeah, but Ghostbusters has more FX shots in it, though. There's a lot of special effects in Ghostbusters.
And like you say, they still really hold up. They still look
they like that. The library ghost still looks real, but you see some of the new Ghostbuster movies, and it looks kind of like PlayStation.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my number one. Finally, get to my number one of 1984, Ghostbusters. And before I go to you, let me catch up here. Acre says she didn't like Beverly Hills Cop 4. He looks scared going 10 on the golf court. I didn't like how Joseph Gordon-Levitt looked sick and pallid. Also, bad CGI helicopter scene. Yeah, but I liked it. I liked it, Acres. I'll take your criticism, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice sort of return to form for Eddie Murphy, and just I enjoyed it. But okay, Brandon, what you up to?
2016 was I picked one called Don't Breathe, to where it's like these burglars break into this blind veteran's house, but it turns out he's a badass and he kind of starts picking them off one by one. And then there's like a twist at the end that's really gross and dark. So I don't know if y'all see that, spoiler alert, but it turns out like the blind dude's daughter was like ran over by a drunk driver or something. And like, so there's a woman downstairs that did it, and he's trying to like impregnate her with a turkey baster to like have another kid. And then like Jane Levy's character ends up killing her or something. So he tries to like chain her up to make her like the new one to impregnate. It was a fucked up movie. I remember going to the theater. We didn't know what it was. We just knew it was a horror movie. We just went into it, no pun intended, blind, and it was an experience.
I need to see that. I've heard.
And then in Don't Breathe 2, they made the blind guy a good guy. He did all that shit.
And just the plot of that sounds like something I would really enjoy. But I don't think I've seen it yet.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. Like I said, that was one of those deals because me and my friends, we would just always go to the theater and we were just, chilling out. We went to that was back, I think, when the Starplex was still the Starplex, and we didn't know what it was. We just bought a ticket and went to see it. And they were like, damn, that's a messed up movie. But yeah, Don't Breathe. I think you would enjoy that one.
Well, just a minute. I'm kind of doing some catching up here. So, all right. Talk to the people here. I'm going. I'm kind.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot what year I'm up to. I'm up to 1985. Okay.
Yeah, you're on 85.
And let's see. If Venkman called in sick and Ghostbusters called, what would you do? I don't know. That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Send the other ones.
Yeah, to send the other Ghostbusters. Okay, 1985. There's another one by Joe Dante that I really enjoy. I don't hear many people talking about it, and that's Explorers. And
I never heard of that.
But Ethan Hawke is in it. But anyway, River Phoenix, he passed away at a young age, and with I think it was a drug overdose, River Phoenix. But yeah, Joe Dante directs, and it's these kids that basically build a spaceship and go to another planet, and that's the basic story. And it's fun. It's a fun movie, but I really enjoy Explorers. You mentioned this as far as another one that blends comedy and special effects, or in this case, comedy and horror. Return of the Living Dead. Dan O'Bannon directed, and of course Clu Gulager, James Karen. Yeah, it's a classic. Great humor, great special effects, and of course, the way they treat zombies in Return of the Living Dead is it isn't the classic Romero zombies where you shoot them in the head and they're done. Nope, you can't kill them.
They run fast too.
They're fast and they talk. They can talk. And
one of them's a midget.
Yeah. Well, no, he's half. He's a half person, isn't he? Like.
Oh yeah. Anyways, he sawed off and he's like chasing.
Yeah, walking on his hands. And the zombie, send more paramedics.
Yeah, that's a crazy movie.
Send more cops. But yeah, great movie, a lot of fun, great humor, great special effects, and who is it who's like naked through most of the movie?
Oh God, Linnea Quigley.
Linnea Quigley. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, that dance was something else.
The girl is pretty much buck naked through most of the movie, and she's a lovely gal. Yeah. But yeah, Return of the Living Dead. Another classic horror film, Fright Night. Tom Holland.
That's a fun one.
Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale. Yeah, great vampire movie. As far as favorite vampire movies, that's right up there at the top. Is Fright Night. Yeah. Let's see. Silver Bullet. Daniel Atlas Attias directed, and with Gary Busey. Gary Busey's a lot of fun in Silver Bullet. It's based on a Stephen King short story. You get basically werewolves. Silver Bullet.
It's a fun one. Anything with Gary Busey's good,
Yeah. One I really enjoy, Runaway Train, with John Voight and Eric Roberts. Yeah, I really like that. I really like Runaway Train. Rebecca De Mornay's in that. Great Western. Clint Eastwood directed and stars in Pale Rider. Michael Moore.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Pale Rider. Another one you don't hear a lot talked about, but I told my sister, you got to see this. I think she watched it and enjoyed it. And it's a Martin Scorsese film, After Hours. And it's kind of Martin Scorsese trying a comedy, sort of a, not really slapstick comedy, but his version of a comedy. Griffin Dunn is great in it. Rosanna Arquette's in it. But yeah, that's what I always tell people they need to see. If they haven't seen After Hours, you need to look it up. I think it's streaming like on the Amazon channel or something like that. But if you haven't seen After Hours, write it down. You got to see it with Griffin Dunn and Martin Scorsese directed. Okay, St. Elmo's Fire, Joel Schumacher, Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Rocky IV, Sylvester Stallone with Talia Shire and Burt Young. Sylvester Stallone directed Rocky IV. Silverado, Lawrence Kasdan directed with Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, and Kevin Costner. It's a Western, but it's really good, Silverado. Out of Africa came out then. Sidney Pollack with Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. Let's see. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Tim Burton directed. Yeah. Let's see. Fletch with Chevy Chase, Joe Don Baker. Michael Ritchie directed that. Cocoon, Ron Howard directed with Don Amici and Wilford Brimley, Hume Cronin, which is basically aliens that come down on Earth and they've got the ability to heal the sick and make old people feel young again, I guess you'd say. And so you get a bunch of old people at a nursing home and they feel like teenagers again because of this alien technology. Cocoon. Brazil, Terry Gilliam directed. Yeah. The Goonies. That's another one that I like the Goonies, but I never was as crazy about it as a lot of like kids my age really like the Goonies. I like the Goonies.
It's always like the crazy old lady that's in that movie and throw a mama from the train. You know what I'm talking about?
And then Richard Donner directed, Sean Astin, Josh Brolin. Yeah, I like the Goonies. But
I think it's a generational thing too, since I'm a little younger. It's one of those movies to where it's all right. But when people are like, "Oh my God, the Goonies," I'm like, it's all right.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one I really enjoy. It's under, Road Warrior, but Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. George Miller directed, of course, Mel Gibson, Tina Turner, of all people, but she's great in this movie. Tina Turner. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Master Blaster. I like Master Blaster. But yeah, I have fun. I have a lot of fun with Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. The Color Purple. Steven
I
Spielberg.
love Pawpaw, but I kill him dead before I let him beat me.
And we're going to Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey. That's kind of where Oprah Winfrey made her starring debut, and Whoopi Goldberg, Steven Spielberg directed. Another John Hughes 80s teen comedy classic, The Breakfast Club, with Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson, and Anthony Michael Hall. Come on, it's still not my number one, but I love it. Back to the Future. Robert Zemeckis directed. We've got Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson. But no, my favorite movie of 1985, and I still would say probably Dawn of the Dead is the better movie, but the zombie movie of his that I watch the most often is Day of the Dead. Yeah. George Romero's Day of the Dead.
Choke on him, and they're tearing him apart, and he's
with Bub. If you go to Dead Pit's YouTube page or YouTube channel, you can see my interview with Howard Sherman. I interviewed him, who plays Bub in Day of the Dead.
He was one of the coolest looking zombies in that movie too.
Yeah. And the whole choke on them business, and just, I don't know. That's the one I rewatch the most of all the zombie movies.
I feel like it gets the human. You know how like The Walking Dead tried to have like, what was it? They said Fear the Living or whatever. I feel like you get that more in Day of the Dead, because to me, like the humans seem like, I feel like that movie got the evil human in the zombie apocalypse right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of movies that can't do that,
Well, Joe Pilato, I love him in that. And Ray interviewed him at that same convention. You can look up Ray's interview with Joe Pilato, and he practically screams all his lines. He's so intense through this whole movie, Joe Pilato. But no, just everything I love everything about it. what was it, the Dr. Frankenstein guy or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's great in it.
I love him. I love Bub, and I don't know. And
I like
great,
the underground part of it too. Like they're like underground, and then at the end, it's almost like they're going through a haunted house where they're all like popping up and are capping them.
yeah.
It's
And
a cool film.
probably Tom Savini's best makeup work is in Day of the Dead. Just some amazing effects, whether the guy getting his head ripped off while he's screaming, just great effects. Great.
Isn't there one where the zombie sets up and the intestines and shit falls out?
Yeah.
And it looks good because the blood looks red. And there's a lot of movies like Dawn of the Dead, the 70s version, to where the blood kind of looks like paint,
It's almost purplish.
Yeah, and it actually looks like blood, so it's real.
But
cool.
Anyway, that's my number one movie of 1985, George Romero's Day of the Dead.
That's a good pick.
Hang on. Let me catch up here. Kathy says, please give the stream a thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Kathy. And yes, please give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying this. If you like to stream, please share this stream. Let's help Jay get up to 300 and then beyond. Yeah, there you go. You're speaking my language there, Kathy. Acre says, I love Beyond Thunderdome. And Acre says, if Ali Sheedy said no to the role in Breakfast Club, would you have liked Demi Moore in that role instead? Yeah, why not? The Demi Moore at that time period, because she's still pretty. But yeah, that would be a good choice.
Is Demi Moore the one that was in The Substance?
The Substance, yeah. And she didn't win. I think she should have won Best Actress. She didn't win Best Actress. But that, I was at that girl from Honora, which I watched that movie. It was okay. I enjoyed it okay.
Our opinions mean more than the Oscars, because I feel the Oscars is very politicized and butt kissing. Just my opinion.
The only thing about Honora is that as far as a plot, almost nothing happens. That movie has such a thin plot to it that it's just like, really? This is the best picture? Now, I thought she was good. The girl that plays Honora. The kitty. Who's this now?
El Santo got cold, and I heard him pawing on the door, so he actually came inside for once. El Santo Escobar Dvorak.
El Santo. Well, that's back when I was on Facebook, I would see a lot of your El Santo posts.
Well, I named him because when I was in Spanish class, the Spanish teacher didn't really give a damn because he's a football coach. So we watched those old Lucha Libre movies where El Santo fought Dracula and shit. So I seen him, I'm like, you look like an El Santo.
He does. He looks like an El Santo. Yeah. Well, cool to see El Santo. And this isn't technically your cat, is it? It's
I spent so much money at him at the vet, so I claim him.
You claim him. Yeah, okay. You claim him.
Or he claims me. He picked me. I was just chilling on the porch, and he would just come every day, and the vet told me to keep him, let him hang around on the porch and stuff, because they neuter him, and then they, I don't know if you can see, but they clip his ear, so one of his ears are like shorter.
I've got outdoor cats that are spayed and neutered, and they clip their ears are clipped. I guess so. If people see a cat with a clipped ear, they know that cat's been spayed or neutered. So.
Yeah. Like Norman Bates used to clean up after Mother. I would have to clean up after El Santo because he would kill birds and shit, and I didn't want him getting in trouble, so I'd like clean up the body.
Well, you said your mother was upset about El Santo killing.
Yeah, she didn't like him killing the birds. And he would massacre them too. It'd make a mess. Blood would be everywhere.
El Santo. Well, cool to see El Santo in the flesh.
I guess he didn't like that cold weather. I heard him.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's just today, then it's going to start tomorrow. It's going to start warming up again. So we had a little flash of winter again, I guess, for Texas, But people bitch, oh God, it's hitting the 50s. You got to be shitting me. It's below zero here. Okay, what year are you up to, Brandon?
I'm up to 2017, and I picked I picked one called Get Out, and it's like this black dude's dating this white girl, and he's going to meet her parents, but it turns out her parents hypnotize black people and like turn them into slaves and try to like sell them to other rich white people. It's it's a funny it's not it's kind of it's a horror movie, but it's also kind of funny, but it's also kind of serious. But yeah, that was one of those movies to where I didn't know what it was when I was watching it. I just put it on, and and yeah, that's what it is. Like they tried to hypnotize these black people into being like slaves and selling them.
Well, and of course it was Jordan Peele, the from Key and Peele, that series Key and Peele, Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
And his that's been his thing, is sort of directing sort of horror movies. It's a great movie. I really like Get Out, and it's kind of basically it's white people wanting to get in, basically transfer their brains into black people.
yeah. It's like that. It's like that, but it's like weird because it's like they control them, but it's also like there's that like one dude wants to put his mind in. It's weird. It's hard to explain to me. I don't know. It's been a
They
it's crazy.
transfer their consciousness into
Yeah,
and of course it makes all of Jordan Peele's movies make a point about racism and such as that. But yeah, I love Get Out. I think it's a great movie. It's very creepy. It's very well directed by Jordan Peele. Yeah, that's a good choice. But yeah.
also, the idea of being hypnotized or having someone like take you over is always kind of scary to me too.
Yeah. But no, that's a really good choice there. Get Out. In fact, when I get to that year, that might be my number one. I don't know. I'll have to see what else will come out that year. Okay. Well, I'm up to 1986. And like I say, once again, movies that came out in the 80s, there's just, every year there was just a bunch that came out that we would consider classics in our, or at least in my age, my time. So name some movies that came out in 1986. Karate Kid 2 came out then. Police Academy 2, Back in Training, came out then. Let's see. I'm skipping around. Peggy Sue Got Married, this is Francis Ford Coppola directed, but Kathleen Turner, Nicolas Cage, which is basically a woman who's she's her age. She's an older woman, but everyone around her sees her as this young version of herself. So she's able to sort of recreate her childhood or teen years or whatever, and sort of go back and, look at her the decisions she made as a teenager and see if she wanted to make different decisions or something like that, something to that effect. But anyway, I really enjoy it. Peggy Sue Got Married. I really enjoy Kathleen Turner in that. Nicolas Cage in anything. And let's see. Crocodile Dundee. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Peter Feynman directed with Paul Hogan. And Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Leonard Nimoy also directed that. And let's see. Crimes of the Heart. Bruce Beresford directed with Diane Keaton and Jessica Lange and Sissy Spacek. This is a fun one. I've maybe seen the first like 2 or 3. Critters.
Oh, I love Critters.
Yeah.
It's a poor man's Gremlins, but I love it.
Yeah. But I like Critters. And Dee Wallace, that's another. You can look at my interview with Dee Wallace on the Dead Pit YouTube channel. Yeah, Dee Wallace, Emmett Walsh, Yeah, it's a fun movie. Like I said, kind of a Gremlins ripoff, but it's still fun. Gremlins.
I like
Let's.
Goonies Go to College the best out of all those critter movies, or not critter, but that kind of genre or whatever you call it.
I don't know. There's so many I haven't seen of the sequels. I think I've seen the first three, and don't remember anything about the sequels.
Yeah, there's one with Leonardo DiCaprio or something in one of them.
Huh.
That was like his first movie he starred in or something.
Here's a fun one. With John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Kurt Russell's a lot of fun in that one. Kim Cattrall. Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. Let's see. Here's one. I think I've sat and watched this movie twice. It's one of those movies, kind of like Requiem for a Dream. That's like, I think it's
Nightmare Fuel.
Nightmare Fuel, and it's Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Ooh, that's a tough watch because it's so realistic. I guess you know what I'm saying. It's like it almost feels like there's a cameraman that's following around crazy people.
Yeah, it's almost documentary style. John
McNaughton
directed with Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker is just he's so creepy and he's really good, but he's really creepy.
And his buddy Otis is like really weird and like incestuous and just it's a weird movie.
Serial killers and based on Henry Lee Lucas, which is a Texas serial killer, Henry Lee Lucas. And I remember seeing a lot of before he passed away. There was a lot of interviews with Henry Lee Lucas. You know, did he get the death penalty? I don't think he got the death penalty.
It was interesting because you remember that lawyer Vic Frizzell that's in Waco. He got a lot of heat because he didn't think Henry Lee Lucas did. He thought Henry Lee Lucas was just confessing to murders, basically. So it's one of those deals to where like people don't know how many people he actually killed or if he was just taking credit for killings.
I think, I remember that. And I think maybe there was some that he confessed to that he didn't do. But, yeah. But,
but he definitely killed people, but it's just one of those things to where you just, I don't know. They're kind of manipulative type people. So you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. And it's one of those movies like, it's really well
disturbing.
made, really well acted, but it's like to get through this movie, it's like maybe once every 5 years or something. And let's see. I'm skipping around here. Let's see. Children of a Lesser God with William Hurt and Marlee Matlin. I think Marlee Matlin won the best actress that year for playing. She's deaf, and Sid and Nancy, about Sid Vicious, and Nancy. What's her Spungen? What was her name? Nancy something. And it's Sid Vicious.
Was he was the rock star that like OD'd or something?
The Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And it's Gary Oldman. Great actor, Gary Oldman playing Sid Vicious. Alex Cox directed. Chloe Webb. Let's see. Once again, skipping around. Top Gun. Come on. Tony Scott directed. Of course, Tom Cruise, Tim Robbins, Kelly McGillis. Let's see. Heartburn.
Top Gun. You mentioned Top Gun, but I always had people tell me that that's like one of the gayest movies, but it must have went over my head because when I watched Top Gun, I don't know. It must have just.
Maybe it's because like when they're out there on the beach, and Tom Cruise and all of them are all shirtless and they're all tan and they're all, wrestling and playing. And,
I don't know.
Maybe that's
by that logic, Rocky IV is gay when they're running on the beach.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, great comedy.
Bueller.
Yeah, Bueller. what was his when he would say something? If anyone, Matthew Broderick, of course. Yeah, but John Hughes directed. Let's see. For horror fans, one of the best, and finally came out. I don't have a 4K player, but it finally came out on 4K. The Hitcher.
Oh, dude, that's a creepy ass movie too.
Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer. Yeah, and that's something that's for the longest time that I don't have, like I say, I don't have a 4K player, but a lot of times
It's been a while on DVD and stuff too, because I remember I had to watch it on an old beat up VHS tape because I couldn't find a copy of it. It was always that shitty remake that they had.
Streaming anywhere or anything, but yeah,
that's a good one.
A Jim Henson movie. I really like David Bowie in it. Labyrinth.
Oh, I love that movie.
Jennifer Connelly. Yeah. Jim Henson directed Labyrinth. Stand By Me.
That's a good one too.
That's a classic. Rob Reiner directed.
Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah. And based on The Body. That's the short story The Body. Will Wheaton. And once again, there's River Phoenix. Corey Feldman.
That's one of those deals that every time a UFC fighter gets knocked out really bad, someone will post a meme to where it's like, you want to see a dead body? And it's the Stand By Me kids, and it's the guy that got knocked out.
But no, of course, that's a classic. David Lynch's Blue Velvet.
Oh, is that the one where Dennis Hopper's all crazy and he's like,
Dennis Hopper, Isabella Rossellini, Kyle MacLachlan. Dennis Hopper's great in that. Sucking on, I guess, nitrous oxide or something like that. He's got this gas mask that he keeps breathing in this shit. I guess it's nitrous oxide. Not nitrous oxide he's breathing in. But yeah. But Dennis Hopper's great in that, Platoon, about the Vietnam War, Oliver Stone's Platoon with Charlie Sheen and Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe. That's a classic. Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens. Of course, Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn. That's a classic, but it's still not my number one. So, what is my number one of 1986? That would be David Cronenberg's The Fly.
That's one of the best remakes, too.
Yeah, with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis and John Getz.
God, he just turns into like a melted, nasty. That's one of those don't eat supper movies, Of
course, the old Vincent Price movie. He goes through the teleporter thing.
He just has like a fly head, but
the giant fly head, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense because he's now got a fly head, but he still has human qualities. Where he's like, he wants his girlfriend or wife or whatever to crush his head in this clamp, but he's got a fly head. He shouldn't have any human qualities because he's a fly now.
Well, the thing that makes The Fly so good is the same thing a lot of people don't realize. It's they kind of did what the 80s Scarface did is you take the old black and white movie's skeleton and you put a new skin on it. So you kind of have the same deal, but you just do it different,
But what Cronenberg did with The Fly,
he made it body horror.
Is treated a body horror, that was his bread and butter. Cronenberg stuff was body horror, but to treat it like almost like cancer, like an illness that's slowly taking your body over. It's very much, that's the biggest comparison I can make is cancer.
Yeah, he wastes away.
Wastes away. His teeth fall out. His fingernails fall out.
He does that weird thing to where he vomits, like like how a fly throws up on its food. It's just a gross.
He was at John Getz and he throws up on his foot and he disintegrates his foot. But to treat it like it's a disease that when as he's transforming into the fly.
Is that the Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid, if I remember correctly?
Be Very Afraid. And it's the movie, it's The Fly, where if anyone challenges me to arm wrestling match. I said, no. I
Yeah,
won't do it. I won't do it because of the Fly.
because when you watch that movie, or at least when I saw it for the first time, like being the Fly ain't so bad. He has superpowers and shit. I'm like, oh, he's melting.
He can walk on the ceiling, and but later in the movie, it's not such a good thing. So
No.
but anyway, yeah, that is my top movie of 1986, The Fly. So, okay, what you up to?
I'm up to 2018, and I picked one of my favorite actors, Nicolas Cage, Mandy. Have you ever seen Mandy?
I love Mandy, and
It's one of those because I love Nicolas Cage, but I didn't know what it was. And when you watch it, it's one of the weirdest damn things, and that's why I love it. And
it's almost like an acid trip.
It has like that they call it, I think they call it bisexual lighting, to where it's like purplish bluish, and there's demons and all kinds of crazy shit. And
it's like this cult that kidnap him and his wife.
Yeah,
they drug them. It's like LSD or something. They drug them, and so Nicolas Cage spends a lot of this movie on this drug. So he's like seeing shit that isn't there, and everything's like psychedelic but yeah,
he sees demon. It's crazy. It's a crazy movie.
Great performance by Nicolas Cage, but very
weird.
The lights, that flashing lights and the colors and all that. It's like I don't take acid, but it'd be like taking an acid trip.
Yeah, it's just a crazy movie. And then like there's that one part where isn't he like in his underwear in the bathroom, like It's a crazy movie. I picked it. It's one of those ones where I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. That's one of those movies you just kind of pop it in and just go on your weird acid trip, just
Exactly. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, and if you're even a slightest fan of Nicolas Cage, you got to see Mandy. Look it up. It's streaming somewhere because I saw it recently. I forget where it was at, but yeah, you got to look up Mandy. But no, really, that's a real good choice. Okay, well, I'm up to 1987. And let me name a few that came out in 1987. Barfly with Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway. Barbette Schroeder directed. And La Bamba with Lou Diamond Phillips. We're playing Richie Valens.
That's a good one. Sad movie, but a good movie.
The plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, and what was it? The Big Bopper?
Big Bopper, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly
and Waylon Jennings. Waylon Jennings was lucky he didn't get on that flight because apparently he was supposed to get on there too, but they didn't have enough space or something. And just one of the reasons I'm scared of airplanes. I'll never get on one unless I have to. Fuck them.
I don't either. I've been up in a helicopter one time in my life, and that's the only time I've ever flown ever.
That's worse than an airplane.
Yeah. Well, what it was in something like, 1982 or something like that, and it was 4th of July down here at the lake, and they were giving helicopter rides for $5. And my mother bought me a helicopter ride with my friend Mark. And we flew over the lake and then come back. And I was done with flying after that. Roxanne with Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah. And yeah, it's a fun movie. With the long nose. Steve Martin with the long nose. Roxanne. Great John Carpenter film, Prince of Darkness.
Oh, that's a great one. That's the one where like the green whatever goes in there and Alice Cooper's in it.
It's like this canister that basically has Satan in this canister as like a green goo or a green blob,
Yeah.
or a glow blob or something.
Yeah, and isn't Alice Cooper like some kind of weirdo that's like outside the building or something? Yeah.
But no, that's a great one. And of course, John Carpenter. Donald Pleasance is in it. Okay. Monster Squad. That's another one that I really like, the Monster Squad, but I was just a little too old to be as enraptured by it as younger kids were.
Yeah. I like that movie because it's kind of like a take on the Universal monsters, and I'm just a sucker for like the old classic monsters, you know. Wolfman got nards. That's a fun one.
Yeah. Fred
You remember the Dead Pit video back in the day when it finally came on DVD and CK did the video with the lotion and he's squirting it on the Monster Squad case?
Well, and I interviewed Tom Atkins, and that's another one. You go to the Dead Pit YouTube page, you'll see my interview with Tom Atkins, and we talked about Monster Squad because at the time it hadn't come out, you know, and that was like, you know, when is this going to come out? When is Monster Squad going to be released?
Tom Atkins is the reason I had a mustache back when I was younger. I was like, dude, he's cool. I want a mustache, and then maybe I could pick up hot women like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, it's not like in Halloween 3. The man was like in his 50s or something, and he's sleeping with like young women, you know, like in their late 20s or whatever.
Hey, more power to them. I know guys in their 50s that are dating girls in their 20s. I mean, if they can get them, good for them, you know? Shit.
Eddie Murphy Raw. It's a concert film of you know, a stand-up act. Eddie Murphy Raw. The Witches of Eastwick. Cher and Susan Sarandon and Jack Nicholson basically playing the devil in Witches of Eastwick. It's fun. George Miller who directed the Mad Max movies. He directed it. It's a fun movie. A fun performance by Jack Nicholson. And let's see. I think this might have been Peter Jackson's first movie, Bad Taste.
Oh yeah, that's a low budget one, but it's a good one.
Yeah, where aliens come to Earth, and yeah, I
always remember the poster. That's one of the coolest posters with it flipping the bird. Yeah.
But yeah, broadcast news, which I always really like. Broadcast news. James Brooks director, William Hurt, Albert Brooks, and Holly Hunter. I really like Holly Hunter in that, which is basically about a news station. A TV station and news TV station and how they work and how they do their job. But yeah, really enjoyed broadcast news. One of the best vampire movies ever made and one of the best performances, period, is Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark. And it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It almost has a independent movie feel to it. Just a minute, I'm pulling up a little bit of information about this.
It sounds familiar. I never seen it, but it sounds familiar. I heard the name.
It's kind of great, but as far as performance, bring up performance, Bill Paxton is one of the vampires, and his performance in Near Dark is just great. He's over the top. He's very intense. He's having fun killing. And El Santo. But anyway, Near Dark, yeah, great vampire movie. Now, Nightmare, for a lot of people, this is their favorite Nightmare on Elm Street, and this is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Yeah, I like that one, but part 2 is probably my favorite just because of how dark Freddy is, but 3 is really good. That's like more of like the fantasy one, you know?
Yeah, it's almost comic bookish.
Yeah, I'm the wizard master, and Freddy's all like, and gets him, yeah.
And maybe the best line, the best Freddy line, welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah. That just goes back to what I'm saying. Like, I'd be more scared of Freddy than all of them because he doesn't just kill you. He does weird shit to you,
Yeah.
you know?
But yeah. And let's see. Moonstruck, Norman Jewison with Cher and Nicolas Cage. Once again, Nicolas Cage. Um, the where Cher slaps the fuck out of him. That's always really good. Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I never really much cared for.
I don't really remember them too much besides the first one. I remember AMC used to wear those movies out. They'd play them all the time.
Yeah. I love the first one. I enjoy, like I say, I enjoyed the one on Netflix. But the second one, it's got some parts here and there.
I need to watch the Netflix one. I'll have to check it out. I just would like to revisit that whole series because the only thing I remember is really the first one.
Yeah, it's like I say, I thought it was a nice sort of return up. Akers didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. It's not great, but
I mean, what do you expect? It's the fourth sequel in a series. It's not going to be as good as the first.
But Eddie Murphy's really good, I think, in it. He's funny. He's kind of a good return to form, I think. So I enjoyed it.
I like Eddie Murphy. I like Eddie Murphy's song "Party" all the time. I jam that when I work out.
Adrian Lynn's Fatal Attraction with Michael and Glenn Close.
I actually I was talking to a coworker about that, and I said, "Oh, it sounds like you got a bunny boiler on your hands." And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Watch Fatal Attraction."
If you're a fan of pet rabbits, you may not want to watch Fatal Attraction.
Because he had a crazy girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, they call them bunny boilers." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Watch the movie Fatal Attraction," and he's like, "Hell no."
The Running Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger, another Stephen King short story, The Running Man, which I think they're remaking that. The Running Man.
Yeah. They're doing a bunch of Stephen King adaptations. I guess they got the copyrights or something. They're going to try to make some dough.
Yeah, Paul Michael Glazer directed. And of course, Schwarzenegger. Come on, classic horror film. Not my number one, but Hellraiser. Clyde Barker directed.
I get kind of mad because in the sequels they got rid of the fat one, and since I'm kind of fat, I like the big old fat Cenobite with the glasses. I'm like, yeah, he's fat like me. I like him.
But yeah, Hellraiser. Another one I don't hear talked about a lot, but I really like Angel Heart. Alan Parker directed with Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro. And that's the one I don't want to spoil the ending about who Robert De Niro is. And when you get to the ending, you're kind of like, oh, fuck, when you find out who Robert De Niro is. But yeah, look it up. If it's streaming, look up Angel Heart.
I haven't seen that one. I have to check it out.
I don't hear anyone talk about Angel Heart, but I really like what Mickey Rourke and Alan Parker directed. But anyway, yeah, Robert De Niro. And it'd be interesting to see if you figured out who Robert De Niro was before it gets to the end of it.
I'd have to check it out. I like that one De Niro movie you recommended me, The King of Comedy. That was pretty good. So,
but anyway, another classic vampire movie, Lost Boys.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Corey Haim, Diane Wiest, Jason Patrick. Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams and Forrest Whitaker. Barry Levinson directed. The movie I think won Best Picture that year. The Last Emperor, Bernardo Bertolucci. Dirty Dancing came out. Yeah. In 87. I watch this every year on Thanksgiving. I watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I love John Candy or Steve Martin. John Hughes directed. And I love the whole dynamic between Steve Martin and John Candy in that film. It gets emotional. It's hilarious. Steve Martin says fuck like 27 times in a row. And yeah. And I watch it because it takes place during Thanksgiving. I watch it every Thanksgiving. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Wall Street came out that year. Oliver Stone's Wall Street with Charlie Sheen and Michael Douglas.
Yeah, that's one that ain't for me. It's a good movie, but it's just not my cup of tea.
And it's a classic and one of my favorites. It's not my number one, though, and that is RoboCop. Peter Weller, Nancy Allen.
You want to see some? You want to see some silly shit? WCW Wrestling had that guy in the RoboCop suit come out, but I guess the suit isn't as mobile as in the movie. So the guy's walking towards the wrestlers like this, and it's just like the silliest shit because they have to like bump around him and shit.
Nah,
but like, it's RoboCop.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's a classic film, RoboCop.
The guy that's all melted that gets hit by a car and like splats.
Another one that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but I love it. Brian De Palma's Untouchables.
That's the Al Capone.
Sean Connery won an Oscar for that, I believe, as Best Supporting Actor that year. And Robert De Niro as Al Capone. And Untouchables. Come on, it's not my number one, but it's a classic. Predator. Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Kevin Peter Hall, John McTiernan directed Predator. There's a movie made 2 or 3 years ago called Prey.
I loved it.
Really good. And it takes place like during like the 1700s, something like that. It's Native Americans, Indians, I guess you'd say. You're not supposed to say Indians or Native Americans or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I had someone get on my ass because I was talking about Westerns, and I was like, them engines.
Yeah. This girl that wants to prove herself. She wants to prove.
Yeah, the Predator is fighting a bunch of savages. Now I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, it's Native Americans, but I liked it, but it got negative reviews, and I don't get it. But I liked it.
Most of the reviews I saw were positive, and I think it was really good, really well done. And I like how the Predator in Prey isn't it? It's kind of like the Native Americans, their primitive weapons and bow and arrows and such. The Predator isn't as advanced in his skills as the later films or the earlier films, because this is like several hundred years ago, so the Predator isn't as advanced either. So there's more of an even playing field with the Predator and the girl fighting him, but I think it's really good. But anyway, the original Predator.
If it bleeds, we could kill it.
The Princess Bride, Rob Reiner's
Andre the Giant. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Carrie Elways, Mandy Patinkin, Robin Wright, Full Metal Jacket, Arlie Ermey's performance in the beginning segment in Full Metal Jacket. Which is Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. Takes place during the Vietnam War. But what year when were we at? 87. My favorite movie of 1987 is also my favorite comedy, and that is Raising Arizona. The Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, with Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter, William Forsythe, and John Goodman. Once again, go to the Dead Pit YouTube page. You can see my interview with William Forsythe. It's my favorite comedy. I love just everything about it. Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter, and John Goodman and William Forsythe as escaped prisoners, and they steal a baby. You know, Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter still a baby because she can't conceive, and so they still they have like 8 kids or whatever. Anyway, just
I
great.
need to check that out. I need to check that out since I like Nicolas Cage and shit. I ain't never seen it.
Oh my God, it's one of, like I say, it's my favorite comedy. So you need to make a list here, man. And yeah, Raising Arizona has got to be pretty close on the top of your list of movies you need to see. You need to see Raising Arizona.
I'll check it out before the next show and let you know what I think about it.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, that's my favorite movie of 1987. That's another movie I could just go on and on and on about Raising Arizona, but I'm not going to. Let me catch up here. Let's see. Akers says the cleaning staff has a night off and one of our guest animals sold the rug. I will toss out the rug and replace the rug when I go to the town square. I like Red Heat. That one is underrated for 1988, I think. And she says Untouchables is for 87. It's Untouchables for her. So,
you know, the thing about the Untouchables movie, and I don't know what you think about this, but don't you kind of feel like they kind of glamorize gangsters like Al Capone? Because there's even a liquor store in town called Capone's, and they kind of make a hero out of him and stuff. And this was the one movie to where it's like, no, Al Capone's a bad dude, you know?
Yeah.
But normally he's kind of like made to be a hero, but it's like he murdered a lot of people, you know?
I don't know.
I just thought about that because they do kind of glorify gangsters, but it's almost like if I opened a bar and called it Dahmer's or something. You
know? But okay, Brandon, what year are you up to now?
I'm on 2019, and I picked The Lighthouse because that's just another weird ass movie with William Dafoe.
Oh my God, Willem Dafoe's performance in that.
Why'd you spill your beans? And then he goes on that tangent about the lobster, and he puts a curse on him, and he just goes on this 5-minute speech, which I'm gonna memorize. And next time there's Christmas dinner or something, instead of Grace, I'm just gonna do that whole scene, see what they do.
Willem Dafoe is fantastic in The Lighthouse. He's almost like an old sea captain that's lost his mind or something, you know.
And who's the guy? Robert Pattinson or whatever. He was great too. And that movie really showed me that he wasn't just the guy from Twilight. The dude can really act. I liked him in that.
He's Batman in the recent Batman movie.
Yeah, he's a good Batman too.
Yeah,
but it's in black and white, and he's like, don't kill the she-bird, and he kills the seabird, and all kinds of bad shit happens, and there's these weird, almost like what's that? Like there's like some deal with a tentacle or an octopus up there or something, and
isn't there like a mermaid in it?
Yeah, he has a mermaid that he like has sex with, but I don't know if it's in his head or not because he's like wanking it to like this little mermaid statue. And then William Dafoe's in there like shitting himself, sleeping or something. It's a crazy movie.
It gets really surreal at the end of it. But I know I love The Lighthouse, and I love Willem Dafoe's performance in that. That's one of my favorite. I love him in just pretty much anything, but I love him in The Lighthouse.
William Dafoe is one of my. If I see that he's in a movie, I'm going to see it. And like if they ever recast Freddy Krueger, I'm just telling you, William Dafoe would be a good pick.
But once again, Brandon, his name is Willem.
Oh, Willem.
Willem. Because,
okay.
You know, back in the early days, I used to call him William also. And then I found
Willem.
out it's Willem. Willem.
Ian. Willem. Okay.
Willem.
Well, Mr. Dafoe. I tell you, he's a creepy little dude. I think he'd be a good Freddy. You know, I like William Dafoe.
Well, anything in that because he's in Nosferatu. He's in everything. You know,
like I said, they go mad, and he chases them with the axe, and he starts like it's freaking awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah, I really like The Lighthouse. That's a good choice. That's definitely a good choice.
And it's also I'm just a sucker for like the aspect ratio and the black and white too. It's It's a crazy movie, but that's a movie that I remember watching it with my mom, and I seen it with some other people, and they didn't like it, but I loved it. So, you
And
know,
I've heard some people that just absolutely hate it, but I love it. Um, it's one I've seen like 3 or 4 times, and I'll watch it again. I may watch it here pretty soon. No, I love The Lighthouse. Uh,
yeah, it's just one of those deals to where when I saw it, I was like, "That was awesome," and everyone else was like, "That was stupid."
uh, okay, well, I'm up to 1988. And so I'm going to skip around here. The Martin Scorsese's Last Temptation of Christ,
Oh, that's a good one. I love that film.
as once again Willem Dafoe once again.
Yeah, but don't tell your church people you like that movie because when I was big in the Baptist church, I said I like that movie. Oh God, I might as well just said I worship Satan or something.
Well, just you're not supposed to even refer to the idea that Christ had temptation.
No, you're not supposed to, but it's a good film. I mean, you could be a Christian and like that movie, but it really pissed. That's one of those things I learned. Don't bring that up around real religious people. It pisses them off.
It treats Christ as like a human being that has temptations, that has failings, and
Harvey Keitel is good as Judas in that film, and he kind of has to. It's a really good film, and isn't damn what's her name from The Entity? Barbara Hershey, ain't she in it too as Mary Magdalene? It's a good film.
Barbara Hershey, Harvey Keitel, Martin Scorsese directed. And of course, here we were talking about Willem Dafoe, how great he is in The Lighthouse. Well, he plays Jesus Christ in Last Temptation of Christ. But
yeah, that's a good film.
Yeah. Here's another one. I love Bill Murray, but I've gotten a lot of heat by saying I don't really care for his performance in Scrooged. And Karen Allen, John Forsythe, Richard Donner directed. I don't know. I think it's okay. There's parts of it that I kind of like, but
that's one of those ones I always seen at Hastings and stuff, and I never bought it. I'm always like, nah.
It's okay, and you may like it more than I do because most people do like it more than I do. But I like Bill Murray as kind of like the jokey, sort of nice guy, and he's an asshole in Scrooged. Now,
so I'm assuming it's like the Christmas Carol story.
It's a Christmas Carol story, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a comedic version of that. And of course, I know he's kind of an asshole in Groundhog Day too, but I love Groundhog Day. And I love his performance in Groundhog Day. But in Scrooge, I don't like his version of an asshole in that one. There's parts of it I like, but yeah. Here's another one that was popular at the time. Heathers with Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. Michael Lehman directed Heathers. This is another one that I watched it here recently, and one of my favorite Robert De Niro movies. I love Charles Grodin in this. Midnight Run. Martin Brest directed. It's an action film, but it's really funny with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. They're he's a bounty. Not a bounty hunter, or what do you call it? I guess he's a bounty hunter. And he's carrying Charles Grodin, who's like this sort of a rich criminal, trying to get him to one place to get him to another. And they're all chasing them down. But yeah, Midnight Run. It's a lot of fun, good action, and performance by Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin is hilarious in that. Another great John Carpenter movie, They Live.
Oh, I love that with Roddy Piper.
Like what's that? Come to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of.
I remember I saw an interview with Roddy Piper, and he said that John Carpenter just wanted to see like some of his old like wrestling promos, and that was one of the ones he used on somebody. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Um,
He
and
was good. Yeah, yeah, that was a good movie. That's a movie that kind of made me think too, because it's like made me kind of a conspiracy theorist, if you will, you know.
well, it's what if you wear these special shades,
And it
you
says consume,
you
buy.
see people as what they are, and they're aliens, and that they've taken over the world basically, and they put up these signs that say like submit, reproduce, whatever, where your advertisements, you see normal advertisements, but you see the really subliminal messages that are
One of
controlled.
the best fight scenes in the alley. Put on the glasses.
That fight scene between Roddy Piper and Keith David that goes on for like 15 minutes or something. It's like, uh, that's one of the best fights in a movie. Period. Is that fight between Keith David and Roddy Piper? Um, yeah, but yeah, that's a classic. They Live. Another one I really like. We lost Gene Hackman recently. Mississippi Burning. And
Yeah.
once again, Willem Dafoe. Uh, a
Brad
great
Dourif is in that too as one of the racist cops, and isn't Arlie Ermey in that movie too?
I think so. And Francis McDormand um, and Alan Parker directed, but a great dynamic between Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe. Just their sort of the way they spar with each other in the film, and it's based on a true story. Back during the civil rights marches and stuff, that were white guys were trying to help black, you know, protests, and they're killed, and to find the killers, Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe. But yeah, really good performance by both of them. Coming to America, Eddie Murphy, John Landis.
They're coming to America.
Yeah. Fish Called Wanda with John Cleese and Charles Crichton, and Jamie Lee Curtis and Kevin Kline. And we mentioned earlier The Naked Gun that came out. David Zucker directed, of course. Leslie Nielsen, Priscilla Presley, Elvis Presley's former wife, and she's a good actress. She's really good in those movies. Priscilla Presley, and of course O.J. Simpson. So there you go.
Yeah, OJ, he was a good actor. I'm telling you, if I could just go back in time and be like, just be a good boy, don't do that shit.
A Big, Penny Marshall, Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Perkins, Robert Loggia. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Robert Zemeckis directed.
That's a fun one. I like that.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. Beetlejuice. Tim Burton with Michael Keaton, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis. Let's see. Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. But Dustin Hoffman plays, I don't guess you wouldn't say retarded, but he's
mentally handicapped American.
Yeah. What do they call it? Savant. They call savant. Really, you're not supposed to say it, but they call it idiot savants.
I thought savant was a martial art or something.
But savant, yeah, where he's very slow, almost childlike in his brain, but he's got a special skill. He can count. He can, the toothpicks dropped on the floor, he can tell you immediately how many toothpicks there are, or something like that. So Tom Cruise is his brother, and they go to Las Vegas, and Dustin Hoffman helps him win at poker because he can count the cards. But yeah, great performance by Dustin Hoffman. I don't know if he won. He might have won Best Actor that year, Dustin Hoffman, for Rain Man. Barry Levinson directed. It's not my number one, but it's a great one. Die Hard, Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman.
Do you consider it a Christmas movie or no?
Why not?
That's what I'm saying. There's Christmas trees in there.
Yeah, why not? I wouldn't argue with it being called a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas time, and John McTiernan directed. And great performance by Bruce Willis, but also Alan Rickman. I love him in that one. And his demise at the end, where he, where he was holding on to her like bracelet or something, and it kind of snaps off, and then his slow motion fall out that window. But anyway, what is it? I'm going to go as far as my favorite for that year, the one that I'll go back and watch more often. I'll go with They Live as my favorite movie of '88. The one that I'm going to watch the most often of those.
It's just a fun movie, man. It's quotable.
Yeah. And also just the direction, and of course Roddy Piper. I met him during one of the Frightmares, had a nice talk with him because, I had a table, promoting my Dawn prequel book. And so when they closed the doors to the public, the convention, there was still a lot of the guests there. And I could just mingle around and talk with some of them. And I talked with Roddy Piper and had a nice conversation with him. He was such a nice guy. Hated to lose him. He's such a nice guy. But I'm going to go with They Live for 1988. And I guess we're going to end with that because we're at just short of 9 o'clock here. So I like to go about 2 hours.
I always wondered how come Roddy Piper never caught on as an actor like The Rock or some of the other ones. Because I thought he was really good. Maybe that Hell Comes to Frogtown movie killed his career or what?
And gosh, we're getting close with you because what year are you up to now?
2020.
Oh gosh, so but I want you to keep coming back, even though it's just going to be me, so you can comment on my stuff. And then, of course, like I say, I named the other movies that have come out, during those years too.
Yeah,
so we'll have stuff.
I'm 30, so it's only going to be half of what you have. So
yeah. But I'm going to finish with They Live, 1988. But this has been a good one. Yeah, if you're watching this, you're enjoying this, please hit that thumbs up. I always say that, and I sure appreciate you doing that and spreading the word. Let folks know about these shows if you're enjoying them. And I think this has been a good series of shows. It's because we've had a lot to talk about, different movies to talk about, and you've had some interesting choices. That like in 1 year, you picked Human Centipede 2, and I'm like,
well, yeah, because it's just one. It's like I'm not saying it's the best movie that came out that year, but it's the one that I kind of enjoyed the most,
But that's what this is all about. This is about what's the one that you enjoyed the most of that year. And then for you, it was Human Centipede 2.
Yeah, but you also got to remember when you get to some of those mid 2000 movies, there's not a lot to choose from either. So.
Let's see, but let me catch up here on stuff that Akers has said. Right. Serpent and the Rainbow, 87 or 88. Wow, I heard that might have some true events involved.
Well,
that was a Wes Craven, wasn't it? Serpent
well, one of the I heard a story that one of the people working on the film, Wes Craven, and then went to go meet a real voodoo doctor, and he said, "I want to know voodoo," and they actually did shit to that guy, and he freaked out in his hotel room and didn't leave.
Huh.
He was tripping on whatever drugs they gave him.
And let's see, if you ever in Haiti, that movie seems quite real. It's so fun to go through each year. Let's see. Do you like Married to the Mob? I do like Married to the Mob. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do like Married to the Mob. Steve Martin, Michael Caine, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Yeah, that's a funny one. Also, regarding OJ, he's in Naked Gun, not Police Academy. Police Academy had Bubba Smith. Yeah, that's right. I guess OJ wasn't in Police Academy.
Should have been.
Yeah. Rayman was a huge movie that year. Yeah. And Colors 1988 was a big movie too. Did you see any gangs at the cinema that day? No, I didn't see any gangs. I think maybe I saw Colors. And Dennis Hopper, I think, directed Colors. No, I think I did see that in the theater, and I didn't know there wasn't any gangs there.
No gang members.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
don't know. Last time I was at the theater, they had the police there like G.I. Joe. I don't know what the hell they were expecting to show up. They're over there with their like rifles and shit. And I was like, damn.
But no, this has been another good one. And we'll continue this until we get to you'll get to it a lot sooner than I will.
Yeah, because I stopped at 2024. So
yeah, that's where I'm going to stop too, is 2024. But yeah, I've got a ways to go. But okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. And stick with me here, Brandon. But I'm going to go off live here. But yeah, once again, please hit the thumbs up. Appreciate everyone that is tuned in and everyone that has spoken up today. Akers and I think Sean. And if there's anyone I'm skipping, but please forgive me. But appreciate everyone that is tuned in. Kathy tuned in tonight. Thank you, Kathy. So, yeah, we'll see you guys again soon. And y'all have a good night. And keep tuning in. Bye-bye.